Boruto's craziest chapter just dropped. Holy shit. The truth behind him losing everything was finally revealed, and it's easily the biggest twist in Next Gen by far. I don't know how, but every damn chapter it goes from being the best to being the best. I can't even imagine how it's going to end, because we still need to worry about Code, who's building an army of over 1,000 claw grimes. This is also the most amount of attention I think I've seen Boruto get since Naruto's Baryon mode. It feels good that Boruto has hit that status again. What's going on, everyone, and welcome to this month's review of chapter 79. We have some very interesting topics to discuss, and I can finally confirm and connect this idea that has been on my mind for a while because of this chapter. If you are new, we usually discuss topics centered around chapters instead of doing a complete read and overview, so with that being said, let's first discuss Eida's secret ability she has been hiding and hinting at to Code since the beginning of the Code arc. Momoshiki finally clears up what Eida's ability is: omnipotent, an ability only to be properly used by a god, the ability of creation that makes one's desires happen. Eida's desire is to be loved, but also doesn't like pain. The way I saw it, it kinda combined both and materialized into having everyone that isn't an mitsuki fall in love with her to where they also can't hurt her. Eida's enchantment ability was never just the ability to make people fall in love, it stems from the ability to create her desires out of nothing and into something, basically making something that should be impossible possible. This is also what Amado said in chapter 75, where powers like Shinjutsu contain hope to make what's impossible to us possible. In the same sense with Kawaki, his desire was for the vessel of Momoshiki to be an outsider like him, somebody nobody would care for if he got killed off. Eida's omnipotent ability essentially took this literally and actually made Boruto an outsider. But one thing they didn't add is how it also took his desire to be Naruto's son, a part of his family, into reality too. The ability then switched the lives of Boruto and Kawaki, fulfilling Kawaki's desires, even if it's not exactly what he meant. This is nuts, because it's basically saying Eida contains the same ability that whatever god that created the earth had. The ability to make something that should be impossible to mere humans and even powerful creatures possible. Bro, how do you even think of this shit, man? Like, what the This is mind-blowing. What a crazy chapter. What also is crazy about this is that what if Damon himself is hiding another divine power on the same scale? Yo, Shibai is different. I always knew he was literally God. I think I said it myself, but holy, for Eida to actually be able to use this power even if not in total control is insane. When I said we were in this era of gods within the franchise, we really are in this era of gods. Next up, let's discuss one of the themes of Boruto, and that's love and how far one is willing to go for their obsessions. I'll explain, and in order to do that, we're going to have to look at the characters of Amado and Kawaki, who I think embody this theme more than anybody as of now. Code may be up there, but he needs to actually do something to properly fit it. In Naruto, one of the major themes was hatred through love. Like Madara said, for one to truly hate, they must have experienced a deep sense of love. Here in Boruto, it's more so exploring the dangers of being obsessed through love, and with Kawaki and Amado, these two characters have essentially damaged everyone around them or someone close to them in order to achieve their goals that their obsessions were centered around. Like Shikamaru said, Amado is not an innocent person in all this despite his intentions for his daughter. At the end of the day, he still willingly joined Kara. Yes, when he found out about Jigen's true intentions, he wasn't on board with it, but still doesn't change the fact that he got multiple kids killed helping Jigen out, not for himself or his safety, but for the end goal of bringing back his daughter. And now that he's almost at the part of reviving her, his end goal, what he's done to get here was play a part in getting all those kids killed, forcing Eida into taking powers of Shibai that she did not want, which ended up being the main ability, causing Boruto to lose everything, and giving Kawaki back his karma seal through manipulation, which caused him to go chaotic. All these things he did for the sake of his obsession for bringing his daughter back ended up getting so many other people hurt through a chain of events. He told Kawaki at the beginning of this arc that just like him, he is someone who is willing to do whatever it takes. And from Kawaki, who repays kindness with ingratitude, he has let his obsession over Naruto and destroying the Itsuki go so far that it caused him to abandon how he looked at his own brother. Boruto is essentially paying for Kawaki's obsession over Naruto and destroying the Itsuki, and it's utterly tragic. This is what I think one of the messages or even lessons of this story is, and that's how obsession, even though it stems from something as beautiful as love, can also have its merits, and that's as simple as the scale of how far someone is willing to go for it. Remember, Amado and Shikamaru had a conversation about this in the anime too when speaking on Kawaki's obsession for Naruto. From another angle, human love is just obsession. Almost like Amado himself knows this because he understands Kawaki's obsession for Naruto since he pretty much has it for his daughter. And like I said, both characters have gone as far as to hurt others for their obsessions, hence why I think these two are the embodiment for this specific theme of Boruto as of now. Another way to look at it is by the phrase, hurt people hurt other people. Even if their intentions are not bad, which both of them have a valid reason for what they are doing, Kawaki wanting to protect Naruto and destroy the Otsutsuki, while Amado just wants to bring back his daughter. They are both characters at the same time whose lives have been heavily negatively impacted, and because of it are resorting to hurting others in order to fill their obsessions that they are desperately clinging on to. Characters who were hurt and are now hurting other people in the process of their goals. It's a really cool but tragic theme, man, because at the end of the day, and I'm gonna include Eida in this, since her character is technically all about love, even though these three have destroyed at least one person's life, you can't help but feel tragedy when you know why they did it. Not in the sense of how you should technically disregard the damage they are doing, no, just how all three have the right intentions but have let their obsessions or desires, in Eida's case, for just wanting to be loved, hurt other people in the process. Just because you have gone through something terrible does not mean you put that on someone else. And now this next topic is going to kind of continue off of the recent one because we are going to be discussing the tragedy of the Karma Bros. I think for what I'm about to say, because I am going to connect some things here, I am going to have to start with Kawaki, to which from there, I will transition onto Boruto, since Kawaki's actions are what caused Boruto's demise. Now, some of what I want to say has already been said, but I want to pick on Kawaki's character specifically more, since now I think I finally have confirmation on this idea I had when rereading the Kara arc. Kawaki is a character that genuinely hates himself, and I'd even go as far as to say he doesn't see any value in himself, so much so that he depends on someone to give him the motivation to live this life, as he doesn't even try to build his own character. His conversation with Eida kinda confirms that for me now, as what I just said is the root of his problem, and why no matter who comes into his life, I don't care if it's the perfect person, nothing will ever change no matter what. This is backed up by two hidden but very special and overlooked conversations with Boruto and Himawari from the Kara and the Code arc. If you somehow haven't realized it, the vase was always meant to be a metaphor to Kawaki as a person. A damaged vase, so much so that even if repaired, will still have those cracks and scars left behind. In the Kara arc, Kawaki buys a new vase with the intention of replacing the old damaged one, to which Boruto tells him no, as he wants him to fix the vase that was originally broken. He will not take something new that is so replaceable, as the old vase needs to be fixed. And in the Code arc, when they planned a surprise dinner for Kawaki, Kawaki asks why they kept the old vase when they have a perfectly well looking new one, to which Himawari says she would rather keep the old damaged one. I interpreted these two scenes as one, Kawaki trying to reject his damaged self instead of working on the genuine root of his problem, being self-hatred, and two, due to this self-hatred and bad perception he has on himself, he is unable to see the love the Uzumaki family and everyone else truly had for him. Boruto and Himawari failing to accept a replaced vase but would rather have the cracked vase instead is them showing their acceptance towards him, even if he is still full of the scars and trauma left by Jigen and his father. He doesn't see this, however, and continues to see himself as a burden and a genuine failure. The moment things started looking iffy at the beginning of the Code arc, especially with Amado getting inside Kawaki's head, even though they finally got rid of Ishiki, something huge that should have been a giant weight off his back, he goes right back into depressed mode and starts downplaying himself. And as things are looking up for him again with regaining karma and finally having the power to defeat Momoshiki and Code, who was currently limited, the moment he is backed into a corner in this chapter, he lashes out and goes right back into self-hatred. Why couldn't it have been someone like me? Nobody would have cared anyways. Again, completely disregarding the love the Uzumaki family had for him. It doesn't matter how many times Naruto tells him that he's family, he cannot see it that way, as he most likely sees himself more as a burden to it. This self-hatred runs so deep, he doesn't even care if he dies as long as Naruto and the village live, because he believes himself to have zero value or purpose compared to everyone else. When he said that to Eida, I think it kinda confirmed the whole idea with the vase I had, because I wasn't too sure, but now I think I get it. And when I say tragedy with Kawaki, I don't mean in the sense of how we should feel bad for him because of trauma and disregard the things he's doing, but I mean it in a way of how he ended up like this. I mean it in the same way with Amado and Eida as well. His inability to love himself and recover is how he ended up the way he did. Naruto coming into his life and giving him purpose is the only purpose he has, and that is another one of his problems. He isn't using the love Naruto gave him and the new opportunities he has now to change himself, he's using it as the only reason to keep living. As he said, if anything were to happen to Naruto, he has no reason to be alive because he himself is nothing but garbage and cannot find a reason to live for himself. That, to me at least, is what makes his story so tragic. Not in a way to where it defends his actions, but in a way of how his current position ending up the way it did due to trauma and the inability to recover. And I know the fandom loves to meme at how the excuse for Kawaki is always trauma, but this is literally what the character is all about. He is a character who got hurt, can't see the value in himself, so much so that he hates himself due to Jigen and his father, to where even with the new life Naruto has offered him, isn't using it for the right reasons, instead using Naruto as the only reason for living. And unfortunately, going into part 2 of this topic, Boruto has to suffer because of this. Everything going on in Boruto's life, don't matter if it's Momoshiki, his life switching, whatever the case, has all been against his will. Yes, he messed up in the Momoshiki arc, but past that point, it's been nothing but fear, anxiety, and betrayal for this character. He is in one of the worst positions you could be in. Hunted by the 5 nations, including your friends and your family, your life being robbed from you, and you still have to worry about Momoshiki taking over. Let's also not forget people he cares about could still die soon, and that might be what causes him to lose himself, giving the body up to Momoshiki for a little while before he regains control again like we saw in the time skip preview. It is tragic for this character, man. What he's going to go through in this time skip is gonna be sad as hell for him, and as messed up as it is for me to say this, I'm kind of excited. Boruto's character for me has the potential to pop off if they do him justice in part 2. The anime has also done a great job at foreshadowing what was to come for him. Kagemasa and even Garaga in the Mitsuki arc, these two characters are split-offs of what was to come for him. Kagemasa, I believe, in the sense of protecting what he loves even if nobody remembers him or appreciates him, and Garaga in terms of the betrayal he faced, which in Boruto's case is by Kawaki. It's all about how he reacts now after he regains his consciousness from Momoshiki in the time skip. My wish for this character, and I'm begging, literally on my hands and knees, is that they don't have him be someone who ends up trying to save all the bad guys. That would completely ruin Boruto for me as a character. I don't care how great his development is. If it comes to that, no. If they want Boruto to act like Sasuke, let him be cold when he needs to, but also reasonable when needed to. More like adult Sasuke. I want Boruto to turn into a character that gets shit done for the right reasons, even if people come to hate him till he dies. In a way, it's also another similar story to Sasuke, because believe it or not, even the novels touch on this, but Sasuke is not that well liked within the shinobi world. Yet, for the sake of protecting it, he does what needs to be done for it. The setup to have Boruto live up to the Shadow Hokage name like his teacher is there, but it all depends on the execution aspect of it. Just like I said, it all ties into how they make Boruto react towards the villains of this series. I assume he is going to be a darker character due to what he's been through, so I'm not looking at the future of his character in bad light, but I just kind of wanted to express my worry with it because no story is perfect. There are flaws with everyone, and this one specifically I really hope is not one of them. I want Boruto to eventually be the one to take Kawaki down. As of now, at least, I don't want Kawaki to be redeemed. Low key, I want Kawaki to continue feeding into his obsessions until it's too late, and maybe finally at the end he gets what his problem was, but even then it's either too late or he just can't stop himself. I think it would be fire if Boruto finally gets him, he breaks down what's wrong with him, and even after all he's been through, what Kawaki put him through, tries one last time to bring him back. And I know what I just said about not wanting to forgive villains, but in this specific case with Kawaki, it's different because this is a character he later on may have more of an understanding of and once considered his brother. But I don't want Kawaki to wake up, or even if he does, I want it to be too late. I want his story to be tragic from beginning until end. Have Boruto try one last time, even if he doesn't deserve it, and have Kawaki still be unable to get over himself, which now forces Boruto's hand to kill him, as the Shadow Hokage must do. And yes, as much as the fandom would celebrate because a lot of people hate Kawaki now, in Boruto's eyes, who's a lot more matured and possibly further understands Kawaki, he could come to pity him in the sense I described earlier of how he ended up like this, opposed to thinking he didn't deserve to die. And killing him ends up being a burden he has to carry moving forward that only he could understand. I don't know, you guys let me know what you think of this idea, man. I think it could shape up to be another one of those tragic yet pleasing deaths. Like, yeah, the bad guy is dead, but you know, damn, it's sad how he ended up this way. Kind of the feeling I had about Madara's death. And that is going to do it all for this month, everyone. Brilliant chapter, but I don't expect the next one to be on the scale of this one because this was just too much, too crazy. At most, I can see like Boruto continuing to run away, maybe gets in some fights, or we could have some sad dialogue here and there, while Code could finally make his appearance with his army. But regardless, as always, I'm going to be excited for next month. I appreciate all of you for sticking around this long, and I'd further appreciate a like for some support. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.